Hello, friends. Welcome. My goodness, how are there already so many of you here? I'm so confused.
Hello.
Hello, friends. Can you guys hear us? Can you see us? All right. Hold on. Let me just check the live stream on our end. Make sure things are going well. Okay, hold on. I'm going to adjust something real fast because you can see there's a lot of headspace here for us. You guys, super professional, as you can tell. Super professional. You can see and hear. The audio is good. Everything is good. All right. We have, do we have some of our moderators here? Are any of our moderators in here already? Let me know. Today we're talking about the thing that you guys, Tracy's here. Tracy is like a machine when it comes to this stuff. She's just the best.
Amazing.
Today we're talking about, hands down, the number one topic you guys have requested us to spend time talking about. Disney cruise. So what we're going to start doing for our Sunday night live streams is basically 1 hour, one topic. We're starting that off this week talking about Disney cruise.
Yep.
We asked you guys questions, and oh my gosh, you guys sent in so many questions that there is no way we're going to be able to get to all of them today, just so you know. And so we'll do more of these in the future, answering more questions. So yeah, going to try to keep up with some of your questions in the chat as well.
Yep.
We'll get to some of those, but we do have a whole list we're going to try to get through as well. I do want to start off by saying, first of all, thanks for joining us for this. I love seeing that already over 100 of you have hopped on here, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we do want to say right from the very beginning is that we are not Disney cruise experts or professionals.
Right. We've been on 6 cruises.
We've been on 6 cruises. And our goal for our channel is not even to be viewed as experts in this. The view of our channel is to give you guys a view through our experience. Right? We don't try to come across as like people who know everything about Disney cruise. We have for sure said things about Disney cruises that were just not right. Some things about Disney cruises that like we just got wrong. But then
some things that are just opinion.
Some things that are just opinion. Right. And so remember when we're answering questions about this kind of stuff that it's really important not necessarily to take what we say as law or as gospel, right. Because some of this is our opinion or our experience. And it's important to know.
Riv will moderate.
Riv, you'll help moderate. I'm going to add you on there as well.
Thanks, friend.
Appreciate you guys. So just remember that when we're answering your questions, that there might be some of you who hear us say something or answer something, and your experience was different.
And that's okay.
And that's okay, because so much about this is kind of personal opinion, personal experience. So that's what we have. See lots of friends in here. I see our friends RZ-Roll in here, drinking out of their new mug, which arrived yesterday. As soon as it arrived, I was like, that's it. If LeggLife says it, about DCL, it must be true. Oh my goodness! This is a DCL shirt. This is a Halloween on the High Seas shirt that I got on one of our Halloween on the High Seas cruises. Yep. Don't remember.
So I have my Castaway Cay Spirit jersey on, and I was looking through my closet and realized I don't own a Disney Cruise Line Spirit jersey, and I don't know how that happened, but I know what I'm buying on our next Disney cruise.
A Disney Cruise Line Spirit jersey. Yeah. It was the craziest thing.
I was like, how do I not have just a DCL Spirit jersey? I have every other thing and not this.
So clearly that is a purchase we're going to need to make. So you guys, we're just going to jump into this with some questions. You guys sent us over 50 questions total already, and some of them have just come in even right before this live stream, and I didn't even have time to answer them or add them to our list. So a lot of questions we're not going to get to today, but we'll get to those in future live streams. The first question, and some of these are going to be just kind of real quick answers. Some of them are just going to be maybe a little more in-depth kind of story. Some of them will be our experience. Right. And so we're going to try to get to as many as possible. Just so you guys know, because of how many of you are here already over 160. The chat's moving quick, and so it's hard for us to keep up with a lot of the questions you guys ask. So please know that if we miss one of your questions, if there's something that you say that we don't see, we're super sorry about that.
Right.
But we really do try to get to as much as possible. Sherri, are you ready for this? You ready? You've done your stretches?
I have my
are
coffee.
You carbo loaded up?
In my DCL mug.
You're ready for this, aren't you? You are not messing around.
I am not messing around.
Okay. I really like this first question we're going to answer. It says, I know y'all like to relax on your cruises, but do you ever feel like you're missing out on what's happening on the ship? We have a cruise scheduled for January, and I wanted to know how you found a balance between doing activities on the ship and spending time relaxing. Such a good question.
Yeah.
So you guys know we are very specific about the kind of vacation we want to have.
Yep, because it is vacation.
Because it's vacation. And this is one of those questions that it is up to each family and each individual to really be able to answer this.
Yep.
So I can't really answer this, and we can't really answer this for you. I can tell you what we do. Before we go into a vacation, it's not just Disney cruise, this is any kind of vacation.
Right.
We have the conversation, even before we book really,
Right.
about what kind of vacation do we want this to be. Right? Sometimes we want vacation to be like, we want to see stuff, we want to do stuff, we want to experience stuff. And then sometimes we go on vacation saying, we need to relax.
I want to do nothing.
I want to do nothing.
I want to spend a lot of money to go somewhere and do nothing.
That's right. And so depending on what kind of vacation you want, but also depending on what kind of vacation you need,
Right.
I think will determine this.
Right.
For us, as far as the balance between activities, port adventures, and relaxing on a cruise, we go into a cruise and we say to ourselves, okay, number one, the realization that we cannot do it all.
Correct.
There is too much stuff to do on any Disney cruise. I don't care if you're on a 3-night or a 14-night cruise. There is too much to do on one cruise.
Right.
And so you kind of have to lay the mindset that, man, I'm going to consume everything the DCL offers in one cruise. You have to lay that to the side because that's not going to happen. And if you try to do that, you will get off the cruise so exhausted that you need a vacation.
And so disappointed that you couldn't do everything because you will not be able to do everything.
Totally. So go into the cruise saying, okay, what kind of vacation do we need? And then this is where things like reading past personal navigators or reading, watching past cruise vlogs from other people are really helpful because then you know what the things are that you want to do.
Right.
So when Sherri and I go on a cruise, there might be 5 or 10 things, even if the goal for us is relaxation, there might be 5 or 10 things that we say on this cruise, these are the priorities. And outside of those, we are not going to like kill ourselves trying to do them.
Right. And we vacation differently.
That's exactly right. And so if I make Sherri vacation the way I vacation, she gets off the ship exhausted.
And angry.
And angry because like she had to extrovert on a vacation.
Right.
Whereas if she makes me just like sit in Cove Cafe and read books, I kind of die a little bit because I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things I want to do.
Right.
And so we have to give each other space to do the things that we want on vacation, understanding that we can't do it all. So to me, that's one of the most important things is to go into a Disney cruise with realistic expectations, not necessarily about what you can do, but about all of the things you can't do.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, that's what I would say.
Yep. So then you were also going to talk about, do you feel like you're missing anything?
Oh, that was a different question.
Oh, it was?
But let's jump into it because it was maybe one of my favorite questions somebody asked. This is such a good question. We get this question all the time. Hold on, let me find it on the list. The question was, do we feel like we are missing, oh, here we go. Do you feel like you are missing out on anything when you vlog a cruise?
That is such a good question.
That is such a good question. Because people wonder, it's like, we're out there, we're documenting our experience. And so do we feel like we get a lesser experience because we're spending so much time filming? So the answer is no. But let me explain to you our approach to vlogging a cruise because honestly, I think it's kind of unique.
Yeah, and it's just not just vlogging a cruise, but vlogging in general.
Vlogging in general. So for us, our primary goal of a cruise is not the creation of content, it's the creation of memories for us. Right. And so for us, we will never sacrifice something that we do together because we need to film something or because it would make a cool video. What we do is we document the things that we think you guys would love to see. And so, and also it's a little bit unique because I go into a day actually already thinking, this is not just cruise, this is how I vlog. I go into a day knowing what I want the video at the end of the day to be. So we don't just film the whole day and then create a vlog out of that.
Right. He doesn't have hours and hours and hours of footage that he then weeds through and tries to find the 20-minute video. He has 45 minutes of vlogging, and he weeds it out to be a 20-minute video.
Yeah, on a 25-minute vlog, if day one Disney Cruise vlog is 25 minutes that you guys see, I guarantee I had less than probably an hour of total footage because I go into the day knowing I've already storyboarded in my mind the things I want to show you guys, right? The experiences I want you to see. And what that does is that allows so much margin for us to still be able to have those memories together and experience it together that I have never once, I can genuinely say this, and I love that I can say this. I have never once, since we started vlogging, felt like creating a cruise vlog has impacted for the negative our experience on a cruise together.
Right.
Do you agree? That is
Aside
huge.
from like the dinner thing where I'm just like, I really want to eat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to vlog my whole plate and we have to talk about it for 45 minutes before I can take a bite.
That's
Other
true.
than that.
Dinner is one place where it's like, can I please just bite into this creme brulee? I will also say, what was oh man, I just had a thought. Oh man, what were we just talking about?
Food.
No, before that.
Vlogging.
Yeah. Dang it. It was right before you said, oh no, I felt like it was so important.
Sorry.
Poop. Oh no. Okay.
Not missing out on anything.
Not missing out on anything. That's what we're talking about. Man, I don't remember. I missed out on something. Oh well. If I think of it, I'll come back to it. Does that make sense though? In kind of how we do that is that I know what I was going to say. One of the biggest compliments we've ever received was after this last cruise. So every cruise we go on, there are more and more people on the cruise kind of who know us because they watch our cruise vlogs or they've seen us on YouTube. And so every cruise we go on, like we're meeting more of you, which we love. Just so you guys know, like if you are ever see us in a park or you ever see us on a ship, please don't ever hesitate to say hello. Oh, Dylan, I'm going to get to you in a minute. Don't worry. I've got your question. I've got something for you. Well, yes, we'll get back to that. I never, what was I just saying? A squirrel again. Help me out.
Gracious sakes. Do you see what I have to deal with?
Oh my gosh. Oh, the compliment. Sorry, guys. This is reality. Welcome to life with Adam during quarantine. So there was somebody who was on our most recent cruise with us. And what they said to us after the cruise meant so much to us. They said, we saw you guys around to the ship the entire cruise, and we never saw you with your camera.
Right.
You guys, that meant...
Success.
That is success. Because we are not there to just like look at the world through this. Right? We do that because we really do want to create videos that help you guys experience what Disney is like. But like, again, we're primarily there for memories for ourselves.
Right.
And so I loved the fact that one of you noticed that like the whole time they saw us around the ship, they never saw us with a camera.
But we still had plenty of vlog
But we still had a vlog every single day of that cruise, almost of 20 minutes.
Yep.
And so I just like that compliment meant the world to me.
Yep, that's awesome.
Meant so much to me. Full confession, I am missing pretty much everything you guys are saying, so I'm sorry.
Because his brain is not
My brain doesn't work that way.
focused.
Okay.
Correct. Also, my mommy's here.
Hello. Going on the Fantasy April 2021 for our 16th anniversary, doing Western Caribbean. Awesome. Wondering if we can pay gratuities before boarding. Also, do you know what the current perk is for rebooking during the cruise? Yes to both of those. So you absolutely can prepay your gratuities before getting on board. That's something you can do to get them taken care of. One of the things that we always tell people is that the cast and the crew members for Disney and for all cruise lines work really, really hard. And yes, they are receiving a paycheck, but they really do rely on gratuities for livelihood. And so pay them what is needed, right? And pay them what is, I don't want to say expected because I think that's the wrong word,
Yeah.
but they have earned every dollar you give them.
We almost always give more than what is.
Especially if somebody goes above and
It
beyond.
says.
Especially if somebody goes above and beyond. So, yes, you can prepay gratuities. I would encourage you, though, to budget some possibly extra. As far as the amount of gratuities, you can actually find that on Disney Cruise website. If you just Google Disney Cruise gratuities, you will find the actual breakdown of how much per person per day. I think it's $13.50 or $13 a day. It is right around there. And so, yeah, it's somewhere in that area. We never, even for bad service, we've never lowered gratuities.
Right, we've never lowered it, but for excellent service, we have given more.
Yep, for sure. So yes, you can prepay gratuities. That is something that a lot of people don't know. We were talking to our friend Auburn on the phone just earlier today, and she said something that was really good. She said, a lot of people think Disney Cruise, they forget that this is not an all-inclusive experience.
Right.
Right? That like there is a lot included, but it's not all-inclusive.
Right.
And so you can get to the end of a cruise and all of a sudden there's like gratuities and like drink charges. And so just remember that there will be a bill at the end, most likely. Don't forget that. So yeah, so the cast and crew earned those gratuities. So we encourage you to please tip them. They have earned it. And when a cast member goes above and beyond, give above and beyond.
Yep.
Yeah, and Cove Cafe, drinks, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I'm
I'm just going to give it a little aside right now. I love that people are just asking Auburn questions here in this chat. Do it.
That's why she's here. If she could be here doing this live stream and we could just be upstairs watching a movie, it'd be perfect.
Yep.
The second question you asked was about the current perk for rebooking on board. This is called a placeholder. We have, we've talked about these in videos. Disney has recently, not so recently, within the last few months, changed this. The perk used to be 10% discount on your future cruise, a discounted basically deposit, and then an onboard credit. Now, Disney did away with the onboard credit. And so that was a big disappointment. I'm not going to lie. However, to us, the placeholder still makes sense because that 10% discount is huge. It's so difficult to find discounts for Disney cruises that the fact that you can get 10% off a future cruise is significant. So for us, we always book a placeholder, even if we don't know what we're going to cruise on. Yes.
Yep. Because, we know that we probably will cruise in the next 24 months.
And even if we don't,
Sometime.
if we cancel, then the $250 deposit that we put down to get a placeholder is fully refundable.
Yep.
There's,
You're not out anything.
You're not out anything. There is, if you think you might take one,
Yep.
do that. We also wish they still had the onboard credit, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I understand, I guess, why they got rid of it. Still a bummer.
Yeah.
Somebody else asked, what's the best location for a room on the Fantasy? Also, what are your top 5 must-dos for the Fantasy? We'll have a 12-year-old son. I'm going to start with the second part of that question, top 5 must-dos. To me, that's also very personal because things that we love doing, you might be bored to tears by.
Right, and we don't have a 12-year-old son, so we don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. So that to
what
me,
he's into.
So that to me is where research comes in.
Yeah.
Watch videos, watch vlogs of other YouTubers or other people who have experienced the Fantasy with a kid your age. Check out what they did. We also did a Fantasy review vlog after our last cruise. If you want to see us talk all about the Fantasy, we loved the Fantasy. So you can check that out.
Yep.
Thank you to all 239 of you who are here right now. I do also want to say a lot of the questions we received were about COVID. It was about Disney Cruise in this season. It was about when they're going to reopen. Just a lot of questions about what it will look like going forward. We actually are not going to answer those questions today because we're going to make a video this coming Wednesday coming out that is kind of all of our thoughts about that, all of our predictions, keeping in mind we're all just guessing at this point.
Right, nobody really knows. Like, I don't think Disney actually knows because
Yep.
nobody knows what's happening with this pandemic. So
Yep, that's exactly
things are
right.
changing every day.
Yep. And so this Wednesday, we will have a video answering all of your COVID questions, all the things we think will happen, things that we think will change on Disney Cruise Line and other cruise lines moving forward because of what we're seeing happen right now. The other question on that, best location for a room on the Fantasy. We always try to book our rooms midship. And the reason we do that is tied to another question we received, which has to do with seasickness. So on our first Disney cruise, the very first one, we didn't vlog this one. It was a 3-night cruise. Sherri got seasick the very first night of the cruise.
Yes, I did.
And
which was my concern, because I get seasick. I can't do any of like the whale watching cruises and glacier cruises here in Alaska because I get super sick.
Yep.
And so my concern was going on this huge ship that I'd be locked on it for days on end, and I would be super sick the entire time. And that was a huge fear. And it happened the very first night of our very first cruise, and I was just like, what have we done?
Yep.
However, I did immediately start taking Dramamine. We got some from guest services, and by the next morning, I was perfectly fine.
So one of the things that we've learned is that if seasickness is a concern, or at all, get that in your system before the cruise.
Right, so I always start taking Dramamine a day or two before we even get on the ship, so that it's in my system, and I haven't had any trouble otherwise. I can feel the ship moving, but it has not made me sick one other time.
Yep. So, but because seasickness has been an issue, we have found definitely that midship moves less than the front or the rear of the ships. Those are official terms, front and rear. It's not. But for us, midship works best only because of the movement issue.
Right.
Now, what we've heard is that the lower midship is best. So if you go like any of the lower decks midship, you're going to feel least amount of movement. We normally, to be quite honest, have been on decks I think decks 5, 6, 7 have normally been where we've been.
I think the lowest we've been is deck 5. I think we're usually on 6 or 7. And I haven't had any trouble.
Yep.
Even that night that I was super seasick, we were still on, I think, 6 or 7, and I was finally able to go to sleep, and then I was fine the next morning once that was kind of in my system. So, I don't know. We've liked 5, 6, 7.
Next question, kind of specific, says, do the cruises look handicap accessible to you? Going on our very first one in January 2021, my husband's a paraplegic. Have you noticed any issues with other wheelchair mobility scooter people? The way I would answer this, I think it's important for us that we don't speak about something that we personally don't know or experience.
Correct.
Right? And so we think it's very important in this topic for you to look for voices of people who have experienced that personally. Right. Because I can tell you what Disney says, but you can also Google that and find that out. And so I would direct you, there is a really great Facebook page though. It's called Disney Cruising with Disabilities and Special Needs. That is a community of people who have experience with this issue that we don't. Right. Right? And so things that it would be the equivalent of us making a video talking about Disney cruising with kids. We don't have kids. And so
we don't know.
Yeah, so don't listen to us for that.
We can make semi-educated guesses, but we don't actually know.
But there are voices out there who have a perspective on this that are really important, that need to be heard. And so I would encourage you to search those voices out and get your advice from them with this topic, just because it's not one that we necessarily feel comfortable answering. But yeah, Sherri does have an overgrown toddler.
That's true.
That is so true. Yes, Janice, thank you. The disability phone line for Disney, absolutely. Reach out. Great piece of advice. Do you feel like we already answered that one. Approximately when does the ship return to port? I'm trying to find out when I should schedule our flight home. Good question. And a question that I see almost every Disney cruise Facebook group that we're in, I see somebody ask this question.
Yep.
Now the cruises normally return. Now this is where it gets difficult, because there are, even if 95% of the time things are the same, there are exceptions, right? There's fog in Galveston. There is an issue coming into Port Canaveral. There's always issues there.
Right.
And so the ship would normally be back early in the morning, 6:37 a.m. But remember, it's got to clear customs. They've got to get all the luggage off. They've got to do lots of other things. And so kind of the rule of thumb is don't book a flight out, at least if we're talking about Port Canaveral and Orlando, before noon. Now, could you probably, most times, be able to book a flight out before? Sure. But what happens that time that you can't?
Right, so our last cruise that we were on, we've never had any trouble in and out of customs. It's been 15 minutes, go. And this was well over an hour. Yep. And I don't know why, but it was a long time for us to get through customs. And man, if we had a flight booked then, I would have been in full panic mode, because we probably would have missed it, because we were so late getting actually off the ship.
And to me, that's actually the bigger question here. Is remember, like, your last memory of this amazing, wonderful vacation, you don't want it to be absolute exhaustion and panic and stress and anxiety because you are trying to drive 90 miles an hour to get to the airport.
Right.
When if you would have booked a flight a couple hours later, you could have like had that time.
Right.
So to us, we always, and this isn't just for flying out, we always do this flying in as well. We never fly in the day of a cruise.
Nope.
We always give ourselves at the very minimum a day or two in advance. And we were talking about this on the phone earlier, that how anxiety inducing it is for Sherri, because without fail, every cruise we go on, in the Facebook group, like 24 hours before the flight or before the cruise leaves, there's always families that are like, oh no, there's a snowstorm in Columbus and all flights are canceled. And like, we are panicking for them.
I'm panicking for them. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if they don't make it? And oh man, just don't do that to yourself. Just don't do it. And for us, like, it is an added expense, and I understand that, but man, I would rather pay an extra day or two for a hotel and a rental car and know that I'm going to be there in plenty of time than to have that, what if we don't make it? And then you just spent thousands of dollars on a vacation that you didn't make.
Yep.
Just don't do that.
Yeah, so for us, we always give ourselves time both at the beginning of a trip as well as at the end of the trip.
Yeah.
Is there an added expense to that? Yes. However, the peace of mind that we have, because if you guys remember, on our last trip to Orlando, we had travel issue after travel issue after travel issue. And while we had to cancel our meet and greet, which was a huge bummer,
Right.
I will say I was so glad that what we had to cancel was a meet and greet that we got to reschedule for the next day.
And not our cruise.
And not a cruise.
Right.
I was so glad. Peace of mind as worth the dollars you will spend when what we're talking about are these vacations that are so memorable.
Yes.
Fair?
Fair.
Thanks, Sherri. How are we doing on time? We're about halfway in. 260 of you guys are still here. So glad we have property near Orlando. Corey,
Yeah.
come on. Just kidding. We talked about seasickness, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. We just talked about this a little bit. It says we're planning our land and sea vacation next year in the summer, Disney World and Disney Cruise. What means of transportation do you guys recommend to or from the parks and resorts to the cruise? Cheapest if possible. Again, a little bit of personal preference here. And full confession, we've only ever done this one way.
Right.
When we travel, we always rent a car.
Yes.
Partly because like we like having the flexibility of like if we want to go to Waffle House at 1 a.m., let's go. If we want to go get like whatever we want to do, we want to have the flexibility to go do that.
Right.
And so we always rent a car. So what we do is we fly into Orlando, sorry, not airport codes. We normally have a hotel or an Airbnb somewhere in the area, and we rent a car, and then we drive to Port Canaveral. We park our car in the parking garage there. We pay for that. When we get off of the cruise, our car is there. We drive back, and we just return to the airport whenever we fly out.
Right.
Is that the cheapest way to do it? Probably not, to be quite honest.
For us, it actually sort of is.
For us, it actually works perfect.
Because we have some perks. But
That's true.
I don't know. I think it's still totally personal preference.
Yep.
Because for us, we just like having that flexibility. But if that's not necessary for you,
Yep.
do it a different way.
Totally. There's the Magical Express if you're staying on Disney property. If you're doing that, that's a great option. One of the nice things about using the Magical Express is that it's Disney, so you know that it's going to be safe, you know it's going to be secure, you know it's going to be like on time, and they're going to take care of you.
Right.
Right? That's huge. There are lots of private shuttle options from Orlando, especially resorts and hotels over to the port. There are Ubers and Lyfts if you're comfortable doing that. So there's lots of different options. Again, this is one of those things that I think it's important to do some research because what is the perfect fit for Sherri and I might not be the perfect fit for you and your family.
Right.
And so to find out what your options are and then what the right fit is. Good?
Yes.
Wow, Sherri, we're doing so good.
Man, we're rocking this.
Is this helpful to you guys? Like, I sure hope
Are
this
we
is.
just blowing smoke?
I
Who
know.
knows?
280 of you are still here with us, though. Okay, let's take some questions from the chat because we haven't done a ton of those. And by a ton of those, I literally mean any of those. Do you guys think a 3 and 4 night cruise is worth it? Okay, let's talk about that. That's a really good question. So it's also a tough question to ask or to answer. I think if you have concerns about cruising, if you're not sure how you're going to do on seasickness, or if you're not even sure that cruising is for you, because let's be really honest, there are people that cruising is just not like that. It's just not their thing.
And that's okay.
And that's totally okay. So if you're not sure what would work for you, I actually think a 3 or 4 night cruise to test it out is good.
Yep, that's what we did, because the first one we did was a 3 night, and because we weren't sure if we were going to like it, because we'd never done one before.
Yep.
And so we just sort of like dipped our toe in the water, and we were completely sold 3 seconds in. So
Yep. The other thing I would say is if the concern for you is on sailing or cruising in general, like maybe you don't know if you're going to like get seasick and there's real concern,
Right.
maybe consider, Auburn mentioned this in our phone call earlier, that I thought this was a great idea. Maybe consider a short cruise on a cheaper cruise line
Right.
just to see.
Right.
Right? Rather than spending a couple $1,000s to do a 3 or 4 night on Disney, like you might be able to get a 3 or 4 night on a cheaper line for
a few $100.
right, for much, much less. And that would at least let you know if cruising was going to be something that you were okay doing, and then take the jump to something bigger.
Right.
So to me, I actually do think, here's what I'll say. I would not hesitate to do a 3 or 4 night cruise again, partly because sometimes on vacations, that's all we can fit in.
Right.
We did a Disney World trip last year or the year before when we had, it was the year before.
October of 18.
October of 18. And
my sister.
we were down there with family. And then at the end of our cruise, we had 3 nights open before we had to fly home. And it just so happened that there was a 3 night cruise leaving that day.
Right.
And so we're like, you know what? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So we fit it in. So we,
Yep.
if all we could get was a 3 night cruise because of either budget or because of either schedule, yes, we would do it.
Yep.
We just love cruising.
I did see a question if we lived closer, would you do a short trip?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I think that if we lived closer, we would probably do more longer trips, because part of our problem is that we have a full day of travel before and after our trip. And so that tacks on 2 days onto our vacation time, and we only get so much vacation time.
Yeah.
So we have a really hard time trying to do it like a full 2 week kind of thing, because then that turns into a 14 or 15 or 16 day off of work, and we just can't do that. So
Oh, I saw somebody
it's
ask this.
harder for us.
I saw somebody ask this question, and I think you might have asked this in one of our videos too. You asked if I remember the name of the $3 margarita place in Cabo. I wish we did, but I don't.
You know what? And we look back through pictures, and I have a picture of the margarita, but not of the place where we got it, but it was delicious.
It was so good.
And I really wish I'd gotten a picture of where we actually were, because I would 100% go back.
On the Fantasy, what's the best port adventure, and how many can you do at one location? Good question. I don't think this is specific to the Fantasy. I think this is kind of on all the ships. I don't think you can. I don't think that's a question to answer, because I think what's the best port adventure is what's the best port adventure for you.
Right.
There are some families that like a swimming with the dolphin experience would be the greatest family memory ever.
Not for me.
Sherri it'd be terrible.
I would just be crying the entire time.
Right. And so like so I think the question has to be, what are the options for a port adventure at the ports you're going to be visiting, and then what is the perfect fit for you and your family and the kind of experience you want to have.
Right.
Right? And I think that's so important, you guys, with Disney Cruise tips. Whether it's our channel, whether it's other Disney Cruise vloggers, I think it's really important to remember that what you're watching is our experience of something that may be different than your experience of something.
Right.
And the things that we love might be different than the things that you love.
Right.
There really is no right or wrong answer. And I think the way that I would illustrate this is, if you remember when we cruised on the Magic, we didn't have a great experience.
Right.
Yet there were people on the Magic who that was the best cruise of their life.
Right.
And
Friends of ours.
Friends of ours, the best cruise of their life. And so I think it's really important to remember that when it comes to cruising, that what you're seeing is our experience and our reality,
Right.
not necessarily what yours will be. So yeah, hope that's helpful.
Yep.
Let's see other questions in here.
I saw somebody ask land then sea or sea then land. We always do land then sea, so that we end the vacation on a nice relaxed breath, so we're not crazy tired going back to work.
Yeah, because for us, land is exhausting. Just being totally
It's just
honest.
go and
Yep.
Yeah.
We end land vacations, like park vacations, exhausted, partly because we've only ever done them one way, right? Like we just go. We've got to get our money's worth. We've got to like get it all done. But for us, we always end with sea, just because we feel like that's the perfect way to get on a plane and then go home. And we felt like we had a vacation.
Right. Yeah.
Totally. All right. Other questions you guys have asked. Let me scan down the list here. Oh, this is a good one, Sherri. I think you have a good perspective on this. Says, we've never done a cruise because, to be honest, I'm a little afraid of water, and the thought of being out to sea makes me kind of anxious. My husband has wanted to go on a cruise forever, and I've decided that I want to get over this fear and go on one for our 30th anniversary next year. I thought about doing a shorter cruise just to test it out, since we've never done one before, but our 30th anniversary is a big deal, and I want it to be a longer, nice vacation. The 7-night cruise to St. Thomas is what we're leaning toward. Do you have any advice or suggestions for someone who is nervous about going on their first cruise?
I do. And again, this is going to have to be a personal preference thing. For me, the reason that we started with that 3-night was because I got seasick, and I was afraid of having to be stuck on this ship if I was going to be sick the entire time. And so we just sort of like dipped our toe in the water, and that would probably be my suggestion to you, is maybe not book a week-long cruise if you don't even know if you're going to like it. I would book maybe a 3 or 4 night. The 4-night you will have like an at-sea day, which is really nice. And then maybe like book a resort and continue your 30th anniversary celebration at a resort. You don't have to do the parks. You can still get all the Disney magic from the resorts. And still kind of be able to see if you like the cruise.
Yep.
That would be my suggestion.
I agree. 100%. The other thing I think is we made a video talking about like anxiety while traveling, some of the things that we do. Go check out that video, because there were some tips we said in there about what we do and what Sherri does for anxiety. So yeah, check that out.
Yep.
I really love the idea of a 4-night cruise or a 3-night cruise, followed by just some relaxing resort days where you still get that Disney magic. Yeah. That's something that we have not done. Our friend Auburn has really challenged our thinking in a good way on that. That when we think of Walt Disney World, to be quite honest, we've just thought of that as parks. And I feel like we have missed out on a lot of that experience because we've thought of it that way. So anyway, don't want to get too far down that road, only because I want to stick to cruise, but yeah. I really love this question. I'd like to know, Sherri, we've had some discussions about this. I'd like to know what character or movie you would like to see a main dining restaurant on the Wish modeled after, such as Tiana's Place on the Wonder or Rapunzel's on the Magic.
We have very different answers for this, and I think they're both excellent.
I think Disney, you need to call us.
Disney needs to hire us because we are amazing.
Disney, slide into the DMs. Let's talk. You want to go first?
My idea,
such a good one,
is a Coco themed restaurant. How is that not a thing? Can you imagine the colors, the show, the music, the food? Like it oh my gosh.
To me,
amazing. It would be amazing.
To me, when you think of a main dining restaurant, it has to have all of those things. It needs to be music and colors and show and experience and immersiveness. Right? It's not just like, oh, it'd be cool to have this. I think it needs to be all of those things. That's what I love about the Coco. That's what I love about the Coco answer, is that when Sherri said that, it's like, oh my gosh.
Right, because you think of like Rapunzel's, and the food is great, but it's the whole experience. It's the atmosphere, it's the show, it's the characters coming to each table and like bothering you, and like it's just, oh my gosh, the whole thing is amazing. And the same thing with Tiana's. And I think that's what you need, is that fully immersive experience. And I think that there are other restaurants, because I was thinking, like, I saw somebody mention like Lady and the Tramp. Tony's restaurant would be amazing, but I think they already sort of have that Italian thing with Paulo, and so I don't think that they would ever actually do that, and I don't know how they could make it so different from Paulo that it's different. So I think Coco would be amazing.
I'm seeing a lot of, actually Moana was one that we discussed for a while. That's a really good one. We love Hawaiian food. Right. You guys, I saw one of you guys, you're not going to be surprised by my answer at all. I'm so sorry. It's so on brand for me. You guys, I so badly want to see a San Francisco themed sushi bar. First of all, how is there not good sushi on Disney Cruise?
There's like a California roll, and that is it. And it's not even very good. And come on, Disney, get it together.
So, okay. I will say, I know not everybody likes sushi, so I think it would have to be more of like a wider Asian fusion kind of feel.
Right.
But could you imagine, like, if there, so you know the scene in Big Hero 6 where there's like all of the floating balloons, like the airships in the sky? Can you imagine like that kind of a feel where it's just like screens surrounding the restaurant, sushi bar feel, San Francisco? Are you kidding me?
Baymax walking around to each table.
I would weep.
You
I would,
really would.
like, I'm the guy who gets kicked off of Disney like cruise line because I won't let go of Baymax.
It's true.
So, what do you guys think? That's our answer.
Yep.
Our answer is Coco, Mexican restaurant.
But I think that, so you think of like Lumiere's, or even Tiana's Place or Rapunzel's, like, so Rapunzel sort of like leans a little bit toward German-ish food, but it's still not exclusively German. And Tiana's kind of leans towards that Cajun, but it's not exclusively Cajun. And so I think that even if like Coco was a thing that Disney should do, I don't think that it would have to be exclusively Mexican food. I think
totally.
that they could
Yep.
have some kind of like Spanish flair, but I don't think that it would have to be exclusively Spanish food. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that they could easily just sort of give enough options that everybody would find something like they do at every other restaurant.
I agree. Someone in the chat just asked for a very first Disney cruise, and probably would be the only one ever. Would you choose a regular 7-day cruise or a Star Wars Day at Sea when the family's big Star Wars fans? Here's what I would say. If your family is a big Star Wars fan, I would choose that cruise. Because remember, the Star Wars Day at Sea cruise, it's only that one day.
Right.
You still get the full other Disney cruise experience on all other 6 days of the cruise.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys saw our response or our review video, we were underwhelmed by the Star Wars Day at Sea. We liked Marvel Day at Sea much more. However, if you're big Star Wars fans and you're looking at either a 7-night or a 7-night Star Wars, I would probably lean toward the Star Wars Day at Sea.
Yeah, just 'cause it was a cool experience.
Yeah. For us, I don't know that we would book a Star Wars Day at Sea again because of Star Wars Day at Sea. Well, in fact, I'll say this, I know we wouldn't.
Right. If we happen to book a cruise that was a Star Wars Day at Sea, cool, but we're not going to like seek it out again.
Yep. So we're going to jump down because I saw somebody just ask. We're going to knock out a few questions here at once about Alaska. Someone just asked if you go on an Alaska cruise. We kind of tried to group some of these questions together. A few of you asked about Alaska. So the first question that came in actually is similar to what we just asked. If we would ever go on an Alaska cruise, or would it feel like not enough of a vacation because you live here? What do you think, Sherri?
I for sure want to do an Alaskan cruise because there is so much of Alaska that you can only see on a cruise.
Yep. There's parts of the state that like we living here don't get to see
Right.
because of how remote they are that cruise ships go to.
Right.
Now, would we do a Disney cruise to Alaska? That I don't know.
Because it is, wow, expensive.
It's very expensive.
Which is honestly why we haven't done one yet, because
Yep.
we can't afford it.
Yep. So if we do an Alaska cruise, it possibly would be on another cruise line, just being totally honest with you. We would love to, and I'm going to dream big with you guys. Let's say someday Disney wants to work with us, right? Disney calls, they're like, hey, guess what? We just found out you guys exist. What my dream Disney partnership would actually be like a viewer cruise to Alaska, because you guys, we have so much Alaska knowledge and we love Disney so very much. The thought of me getting to share my love for Disney cruise and the love for Alaska with people on a cruise would be the most amazing thing ever.
Right.
That is like my biggest dream. You know what's crazy is that like, I don't want to, well, how should I say this? To me, going on a Disney cruise to Alaska, just the two of us, sounds fun, like we'd have a good time. But the thought of us getting to go on a Disney cruise like with a group to share all of our state is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
That would be so fun.
here's what I'm gonna say. Not just Disney. If Royal Caribbean calls us tomorrow and says, let's do this, we're doing it.
Okay.
If Princess calls us and says that, like, we're going to work with somebody eventually in Alaska, and I'm so excited to share, like, again, our love and our knowledge of the state. Again, I spent 12 years in the travel and tourism industry here. I have more random Alaska knowledge and facts than one person should ever possibly have, and I'm so excited to use that for all of you guys. So the other Alaska question, my wife and I are considering an Alaska cruise for August or September of 2021. Do you have any insight or advice for ports they stop at? Dawes Glacier, Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan. So I've been to Ketchikan. We've both been to Juneau a few times. We have a Juneau vlog. If you search on our channel, that I actually really loved filming that. We love Juneau.
Yep.
Unfortunately, because we haven't been to a lot of those ports, it's hard for us to give advice on them. Some advice I would give though is get to see the real Alaska. And what I mean by that is that with any tourist destination, there is infrastructure and restaurants and shops that are built up that show that show part of a culture, but not the totality of it.
Right.
So when you come to Alaska, like we have so many amazing Alaska Native craftsmen here and Alaska Native artists. Get off the beaten path to see the things that they're creating and support them. Right? Get to the places where like the locals in Juneau and in Ketchikan. Get to the places where like Alaska really exists on the other side of the facade that sometimes tourism industries build up. Right. So that would be my advice to you is get to know real people who live in real places year round, hear their stories, hear why they're there. I've got to tell you guys, I've lived in Alaska for almost my whole life. However, I love hearing some of the stories about why people came to Alaska, why in the world they move here, why in the world they live here. Right. Those stories are amazing to me. So if you can get in a place where you're interacting with real people who live there, if you can get in a place where you can support their craft and their artists, that's always my advice.
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Thanks, Sherri. One of the other Alaska Cruise questions was about whether I think that the Alaska industry will open up this summer. And I talked about it early on, and I'll repeat it right now. We're actually not going to talk about any COVID questions when it comes to Alaska or cruising or travel in this vlog, because on Wednesday we're uploading a video that is all about that. Yep. We're going to talk about our thoughts on when things might reopen. We're going to talk about what we think the travel industry and the cruise industry will look like post-COVID. We're going to talk about the impact, frankly, to Alaska with the cancellation of a tour season. And so we're going to talk about all that stuff on Wednesday's video, so we're not going to talk about it today.
Right.
Okay?
So tune in on Wednesday.
Tune in on Wednesday. Sherri, let's talk about one of our favorite things on Disney Cruise. Let's talk about some food.
Yes.
We got a couple Paulo questions, and so we thought we'd group those together.
Yep.
On the Wonder, Paulo brunch or Paulo dinner?
Oh, man. So I think that we kind of touched on this in our last cruise videos. And man, they're so different and they're both so good that if at all possible, I would try to make them both happen. Man, but I think for me, if you really had to choose, just because I'm not really super big into breakfast food, I would do the dinner. Personally. But you are super big into breakfast food, and he likes the brunch better because he has the option of everything breakfast and everything lunch. So
that's why. Man,
it's all personal preference.
It's all personal preference.
Everything is.
That's why this stuff is so hard, you guys, because there's not a right answer.
Right.
There's not a right answer. The only right answer I will say is that we have never had a bad experience at Paulo.
No.
I will say there's never once been a time that we have walked out of Paulo saying, you know what, that wasn't worth it.
I wish it would have. Never.
Yeah.
It's always been completely amazing, no matter what time we go.
They said, is Paulo worth missing a main dining restaurant on a 5-night cruise?
Yep.
I would say yes.
Yep.
I think it is.
Especially on a 5-night when you will be repeating restaurants.
Yep. Paulo worth the money if you don't drink alcohol or if you don't eat seafood.
I would still say yes.
I would say yes as well. I don't think, to me, I've never gone to Paulo and felt like, boy, it was the alcohol that really made that dinner worth it, or was the glass of wine.
I mean, we usually have a glass of wine or something with it, but it's never been like, this is what I have to have in order to make this experience good.
Yep.
We do enjoy seafood, but I'm trying to think, did we even get anything with seafood last time we went to Paulo?
I feel like we got scallops, maybe.
Oh, possibly. But we usually get like the steak or the...
We always get so much food, you guys.
Yeah, we always get everything. It's gracious sakes. But... No, you can totally go and not get alcohol or seafood and still have the best experience ever. Just because the food is so good, the service is so good, the atmosphere is so good, it's going to be great.
So this is my story. I mentioned earlier, I think somebody commented that Dylan was here. This was their question. They were like, is Paulo worth it without the alcohol or seafood? And then she attached this little story to the end of it, and it so made me smile. By the way, my son today and I, when I was watching YouTube videos today, he kept coming in the room saying, Mom, is that LeggLife? When I said no, he would say, oh, and then walk away. So he said, can you say hey to Dylan? So Dylan.
What's up, Dylan?
Thank you so much. That's so unbelievably nice.
So funny.
I see people laughing at Rob Carter. What did Rob say?
He said he would sell his dog for a Paulo chicken parm. I mean, you're not wrong.
If anybody wants,
oh my gosh.
If anybody wants Missy and can deliver Paulo chicken parm, Let's make that happen.
It is, what time is it? 3:49, and I've had a bowl of cereal today and
That's
2 cups of
true.
coffee, and I need some food, and that chicken parm sounds ridiculously amazing. Oh my gosh.
Janice said, have you ever ordered more than one main dish at the specialty restaurants? Yes, absolutely I have.
Yep.
That's one of the things. So obviously a lot of people talk, and I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people, and a lot of people, us as well, talk a lot about how, at the main dining restaurants, if you want more than one thing, order it. But yeah, what about Paulo? At us, there have been things that I've wanted, and I'm like, you know what, I can't really decide between these. Could I get both of them? And they've always been as accommodating there
Yep.
as they have in other restaurants. So
And even really, like, if we're just like, man, I don't know, I can't decide between these two, they're like, I'll bring both.
I'll bring both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on our last cruise, our waiter actually brought, I don't remember what it was. Well, he brought extra desserts, but he also brought an extra entree just because he was like, I think you guys would like this. Here you go.
I don't remember what it
like
was.
for all of it, I don't remember what it was. But man, they will just keep throwing food at you. So get everything that sounds remotely good to you.
Like Corey just said, points at menu. I'll have all of this. That is me, man.
Everything here, please.
I don't remember what restaurant it is, but there's one restaurant that has like prime rib and scallops on it. And every time I've gone there, I've always said, can I get the prime rib and the scallops? Because I can't choose between those two.
No, you can't ever. You shouldn't have to choose.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, the deep fried brie.
Whew.
Oh man, we
What-
need to move away from the food because I'm hungry.
Hey, Rivenal, thank you guys.
River. Thank you.
You guys are the best. We love you. Let's see. Other questions on our list. Okay, Paulo. Couple LeggLife viewer cruise questions. Let's take a couple of those.
Yep.
So you guys know September 23rd, we are doing the first ever LeggLife viewer cruise out of San Diego. It's a 4-night Mexican Riviera cruise. And so a couple questions. One of them was if for any reason Disney had to cancel cruises through September, do you have any backup itineraries, dates in mind for LeggLife cruise in 2021? We do. We don't have a specific date yet.
Right.
However, we have been looking at this, and we will probably postpone it to March or April 2021, still out of San Diego. We had looked at possibly saying, you know what, should we, use this change should we move it to Port Canaveral? And we said, you know what, we need to keep this cruise as similar as possible.
Right.
So if Disney does cancel this September's cruise, it will be March or April, and we'll announce that soon once we know what day we will move the cruise to. Out of San Diego. Same length. Try to keep everything as similar as possible. Same ports, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's our plan.
Yeah, and I mean, we chose that one for a reason because it is a little cheaper and a little more accessible. I don't know. So we would probably try to keep it close to that.
Yep.
We're really hoping it's not canceled, but
Yeah, we really hope it's not canceled.
nobody knows.
Someone else said, on the LeggLife Disney cruise, will there be a navigator listing all LeggLife activities? What are some of the activities you've decided on so far? It's a really good question. We've talked about this a lot, that we did not expect this many people to book with us. We really thought maybe 30 people max. And when you're planning activities for 30 people, it's actually kind of easy. When you're planning activities now for about 160 people, it's more difficult.
Correct. And Disney doesn't know what to do with us, so they're not really working.
Yeah, and so it's like we feel like we're kind of having to try to figure this stuff out on our own.
Yeah.
There's not going to be necessarily a navigator that we're
Right.
going to have. However, everyone will be aware in advance of these are the kind of things that are happening this day. We're going to have lots and lots of time to meet with you guys. Just so you know, that cruise for us is not for us. It's not for our time. It's not a vacation for us. Our goal of that cruise is to spend as much time with you guys as possible, getting to know you, sitting down with you, hearing your stories, just like interacting with you. So we're definitely going to try to have as much time as possible where we make ourselves available to you,
Yep.
as well as other group activities that we do together. So yes, not necessarily a navigator per se. Will I vlog the viewer cruise? You bet your butt I will. I don't know why I said it that way, but yes, absolutely. Our Z-Roll says, we're so excited to experience the Halloween theme on the cruise. Yeah, we're excited that you guys are going to be there. It's really weird for us, you guys, because I know we call it like it's a LeggLife viewer cruise, but like so many of you guys, whether it's R0, whether it's Auburn, whether it's Riven Owl, whether it's like all like there are so many of you who are in here right now who are going to be there, and it's like for us it's not a LeggLife cruise. For us it's like a cruise with you guys, and so it's really funny
We
because
get to go cruising with all of our friends.
I know, and so it's really funny because we're just so excited to be there with you guys.
Yep.
Ethan just said, "What cruise line would you choose if you couldn't choose Disney?" Ethan, that's a really great question. Also, hello, good to see you. Boy. We thought that we were going to answer Virgin Voyages. We were so excited about that cruise line. We were so excited. We really wanted to book them, and then we started to see some of these early reviews come out that honestly just made us not so excited. I'm still willing to give them a try for sure.
I wouldn't even say that.
Yeah, Sherri's to the point now where she actually wouldn't go with them, which is... Yeah. So, and we
just
might
because of some of those early reviews and actual like videos that I'm just like,
So for us, if I had to
think so.
say what other cruise line, I would probably pick like a Royal or a Princess, but I don't know. Like I will say, I'm open to trying. I even open to trying Carnival. Like I've heard some of the new Carnival ships are really nice.
Right.
So we're not opposed to anything.
Right. I think there is like a Norwegian,
I would really like to try it.
cruise that does like the kind of like the Asia, and it hits all 3 Asian parks. And
That'd be
holy
amazing.
wow, that would be amazing to do a 2-week cruise and be able to hit all of the Asian parks on the cruise. That sounds pretty much perfect.
Joe, you asked, have you thought about what we as a group might want to do in Cabo? Yeah, so that's a really good question. So Cabo is one of the stops for the LeggLife viewer cruise. And I think in Cabo, we're actually not going to do anything as a group, only because, hear me out, only because that's the one port day we have. We have 2 at-sea days and 1 port day. And so we want you guys, remember, this also is your vacation. And so we know there's some people that are cruising with families who might want to go like on a sailing trip, or who might want to go snorkeling, or who might want to do, like they want to have something that they do as a family, as a memory.
Right.
So I think in Cabo, Sherri and I are actually going to stay on the ship in Cabo and basically just make ourselves available that whole day to anybody who wants to hang out, and just like maybe we'll get lunch together, maybe we'll like kind of that kind of stuff.
Right, but if you do want to do some kind of port excursion, go for it, because this is also your vacation.
I saw, Frank, you commented earlier, about, like, I'm telling you, it's the greatest thing because, like, all of our favorite people are going to be there. It's crazy to us. It makes us so happy, and it actually makes the cruise feel not as intimidating. We're about 56 minutes, so we'll go for a little while longer. We're not going to go 2 hours today, that's for sure. Sherri, how you feeling?
I'm okay.
Doing good?
I've been fighting a headache for the past couple of days, which is not super fantastic.
Yeah, you have been.
But,
It's a bummer.
yeah,
Have you ever gone on a Christmas cruise on the Dream? We have not done any Christmas cruises.
I really want to.
It is on our list, without a doubt.
The only, like, well, I guess, I mean, technically we've been on the cruises on Valentine's Day and over, like, the Halloween on the high seas kind of stuff. But those are really the only, like, holidays that we've done.
Sherri, which is a better live show, Frozen or Beauty and the Beast on the ship?
Ooh, okay. So here's my thing. I love me some Beauty and the Beast.
You love Beauty and the
You
Beast?
guys all know this, but I think the Frozen show is better.
I agree. I like the Frozen show. It feels more immersive. It feels like a better, higher quality production.
Yep.
That's what I've liked about that show. Beauty and the Beast is good, without a doubt.
It is good, right. It's still great. It's still going to be Broadway quality and fantastic, but I personally just like the Frozen one better.
Yep, I think so too. Reading some of your questions. When you guys get old, are you going to go on a Viking river cruise with all the old rich people? Is there a cruise of just old people, not old rich people?
I know, because we're not going to be rich, to be real honest.
Let's be really honest. Is there just like an old people cruise? That's the one we'll be on. Probably not a Viking river cruise. Probably like a canoe lake cruise. That's what we'll just It's like, why are you guys in a canoe? It's like, we spent all of our money.
We can afford.
It's like, we spent all of our money doing Disney cruises when we were younger. All we have is a canoe.
We broke.
My husband wanted to work in the nonprofit world. Oh my gosh.
Foolish.
Would you recommend a longer cruise or a shorter cruise for your first experience? That's a good question. I think it depends on
Personal preference.
I think it depends on personal preference, because some people just like are so unsure if they're gonna like cruising. And so if you don't want to discover 2 days into a 7-day cruise that you really hate cruising and you're seasick.
Right.
You know, and so to me, I do think testing out if cruising is for you on a shorter cruise is a good way to like dip your toe in without being locked in. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. Will there ever be an East Coast LeggLife cruise? There will be.
Yes.
We don't know when. Our goal, just so you know, for LeggLife viewer cruises, first of all, once you guys started to respond.
Oh, bye, Mommy. Have fun with your root beer float.
It's funny. Once we saw how you guys responded to the LeggLife viewer cruise, we instantly knew it's like, well, we have to do more of these. And so, yeah, we will do more. From Port Canaveral, we'll do more, hopefully, eventually, an Alaska cruise. Definitely more. Definitely more. Yeah.
Right.
Adam, in Nassau Port, do you feel safe getting off the ship and just walking around town, just the two of you? Sherri, let me ask you that question, actually, because I think you, when it comes to safety, are more sensitive to that stuff than I am.
Mm-hmm. Because you're a big, strong man who nobody bothers.
Super strong.
I don't. I have only gotten off the ship once in Nassau, and I won't probably do it again. Just because I was just like, man, accosted was really the word I would use.
Yep.
And it's kind of the same in a lot of the ports, honestly. Like, they're just there to try to sell their stuff. And I think that's where, like, getting out beyond that is really important. Because I've heard that doesn't really happen the farther away from, like, the port that you get. But me, if I'm with him, yes, I will feel safe. I would not want to walk around by myself.
I think that's really fair advice. Last time we were in Nassau, I got off by myself.
And loved it.
I actually had a surprisingly great experience because I kind of got to put my head down and just like plow through all of the stuff that I didn't love.
Right. And I am not confrontational at all. And if somebody's like, here, you should try this, I'm going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be like, nope, and just push through. Like, that's just not how I am. And so I have a really hard time.
And you feel that way in like malls here when like a sample person comes up. That's just kind of
right. Like, I will literally, like, duck my head and cover my eyes so that I don't have to make eye contact with them, because if I make eye contact, then I feel like they're going to try to sell me something, and I can't say no, because I'm terrible at that. So, it just stresses me out. So, I don't like that, but he's fine just, like, plowing through.
Yeah, if you book an excursion, you'd be fine. That's true. That is, I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we are now over an hour. Let me just scan through these questions real quick and see if there's any other thing. Remember, we've only gotten through less than a third of the questions that you guys submitted, so we're going to have to do more of these, and we know that. So we'll have more future Disney cruise live streams in the future. So continue to send in your questions. Meet and greet in San Diego. We are going to do that the night before the cruise. I think it'll be the 22nd. We're going to do a meet and greet. Don't know where yet. I'm thinking like an ice cream shop or a coffee shop somewhere downtown San Diego.
Yeah.
Let the people who are on our cruise get to know each other and meet us before we get on the ship, but as well as other people who might live in San Diego who are not going on the cruise.
Right.
We know we have a number of people there.
Yeah, but we're also excited for all of our LeggLife viewers to, like, meet each other and, like, get to know each other. I think that would be fun.
Darby O'Gill in the Little People Irish themed restaurant. No, that is Rob.
That would be amazing.
Rob is stirring the pot. Oh,
hilarious.
Can you imagine that announcement? Like, everybody's like, oh, what's it going to be? And they're like, Darby O'Gill and Little People. And everybody's like, what? There's no way. Sandy, why do you let Rob have access to a phone? Like, control him. I got to say, also, you guys, what you guys sent in for my birthday video, like, so over the top.
He laughed so hard.
So over the top. You guys are unbelievable.
Hilarious.
Favorite cruise drink? Whatever the drink of the day is. Honestly.
It's true, yeah.
Like, we just always have, we never even ask, like, hey, what's the drink of the day? It's always just like, I'll have the drink of the day.
And then we're like, oh, what is it? And then we look, and it's always amazing. I'm going to give a real quick aside. Allison, I just saw you texted me because it popped down, but we're using my phone, so I can't check my text right now. But I'll check it later. Sorry.
It's probably something really important, like, sure, you have something in your teeth.
Oh, God.
You don't. You don't have anything in your teeth. I'm just kidding. So, guys, remember, on Wednesday, we're going to do a video all about kind of our thoughts when it comes to COVID, our thoughts about what the cruise industry, what Disney will look like after this. And so that's what Wednesday's video will be. Tomorrow's video will be just a weekend vlog from this weekend, kind of a normal vlog, which we love doing. Saw somebody else just say, oh, hi, Joanna.
Hey!
Saw somebody else ask, is the drink of the day alcoholic? It is, but they also have a non-alcoholic drink.
They always have 2 drinks of the day.
Yep,
There's one non-alcoholic and one alcoholic, so you can choose.
So definitely check on those.
Yep.
You guys, we hope that tonight was helpful to you. We hope that we got to some of your questions. We really love getting to hang out with you guys. Topic for next week, Tracy, we actually don't know yet. That's a good question. We have not figured out what the topic is going to be. We'll figure that out in the next 24 hours and post on social media.
Yeah, I've seen somebody say they like my ears. Thank you. I got them on the last, Adam got them for me on the last cruise. They're super cute, and they have a little anchor in the middle, and I love them.
The viewer cruise, we're doing it September 23rd this year. Come with us. Book it. Melissa, you are so welcome. Thanks so much for joining with us. We appreciate that so much, you guys. So we love you. Thanks for being a part of this live stream. You guys always make this the most fun. So many of you hung out with us tonight.
Yep.
Thanks for all your questions. You can keep submitting questions. You can always email us at legglife@gmail.com. If you have a topic that you would love to see us cover in a future live stream, let us know. Some of our thoughts are things like marriage relationship advice, just like things that we do to kind of keep our marriage alive and healthy and going, as well as things like travel in Alaska, all that kind of stuff. So let us know whatever you guys want. Yeah, someone said, I'll see you on Instagram. You guys, I've been addicted to Instagram Live.
Yes, follow LeggLife on Instagram, because this guy, to give me a break, has been going live with you guys
pretty much every day.
Instagram.
All of my social interaction essentially is Instagram Live. So, this or that, that's a great idea, Tracy. That would be a ton of fun. All right, friends, we love you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I think I just saw Summers in Alaska pop in. Is that true? Did I really see that name pop up? I feel like I did. I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. But you guys, we love you.
If not, we love you anyway.
If not, we love you anyway. We'll see you guys soon. We will talk to you all very soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.